On May 23rd, Premier Boxing Champions rolls through Beantown as Andre Dirrell and James DeGale will go at it for a super middleweight title. Two of the most nuanced and adaptable fighters in the sport of boxing today. And I'm here with my man Ryan Grant, who's going to be there with his fighter, Logan Cotton McGuinness, who will be on the undercard as well. We're going to break down the techniques of both fighters and what each man needs to do to get their hand raised at the end of the night. All right, now, RG, what makes this fight so interesting is it's very rare that you get two fighters in the same fight, in the same ring with one another, and both of them are switch hitters. I'm sure you get a lot of orthodox fighters who come through the gym, who step in the ring, and think they look good when they're a southpaw, but there's only a handful of guys in the sport of boxing who can do it very, very well, and we have two of them in this fight. How do you switch stances in the middle of a fight, and how do you do it safely? How do these guys make it work?
You know what, and this comes with, I think, the type of pedigree that these two fighters have. Both these guys are Olympians. Both these guys have been boxing for many years, and it's a skill that you have to really feel yourself for a little bit of a time. As comfortable as you are right-handed, once you're on that transition of switching, you gotta make sure this can't be your jab. This is not the same type of realm of work, right? So you have to, first of all, understand which way you wanna go, and those guys do it so well. Dirrell does it so smooth in transition that you don't recognize it on the switch until you really see him start attacking with shots and getting through with certain shots on certain men. When he was fighting against, I want to say it was Arthur Abraham, he was primarily on a southpaw, just looking on stuff, looking for that left hand. And sometimes when Dirrell fires that left hand to the body, you don't really see him look like he's setting it up like it's a jab. He looks like he's just getting off the same way, being left-handed with his left hand, like it's his jab hand on the switch. But he's so quick that he realizes, oh, I'm getting through with that shot. Once he gets through, sometimes he'll switch right into it to come back with some right hooks, right uppercuts, to get back over with punches.
All right, well, let's talk about both guys' offensive keys there specifically. You mentioned DeGale. The fact that he switches levels so often, it's almost like his stance is changing every time. It's like if a hitter came up to the plate and he has a new stance every single time, DeGale will give you a different look seemingly every 30 seconds. The other thing that he does is that he baits you in different ways as well, specifically with that right hook that almost seems like a jab is coming, and he'll throw it out wide. It looks awkward on TV, but it works for him almost every single time.
And I think why that shot really comes off the way it does, and you said it best, is because he's always on this, he'll be here, he'll feel like he's there, he'll be here on a different level. He's got this type of motion, like it looks sort of, it's not herky-jerky, it's that athleticism timing that he gets off with certain shots, that when he's just there, he looks like he'll be here at certain times with his positioning. That looks like it's gonna come back downstairs, and he'll just come back over with that right hook and fall through with certain shots. It's a thing now. Dirrell on the back end, when you see him switching and he'll move, sometimes he gets this tall that he leaves himself wide open for shots. When he was fighting Frosh. Now it's also a different environment. No one's cheering for you. But at the same time, James is so crafty that and he's got good strength on his punches, that if he gets caught up, if Dirrell gets caught up raising up on a switch, let's do a little switch. I'm gonna be James.
All right.
He's on that motion that he's trying to time you, and until he's taking a step away on the switch on the step, he might come back over to lead him right back into this left hand, just with that same little bait right hook to lead him here to get back over with shots. And that could be a little bit of a problem for Dirrell.
Now, Dirrell, you mentioned the left hand to the body that he likes to use. It's a real key for him, and he manages to get guys to stand in front of him with that. He seems to freeze guys with that left hand, and then he can almost measure them and battle combinations off of there. How does he manage to do that?
I think because he's such a long level type of boxer that when he gets his positioning, he's got that sort of, I want to say, a mixture of a Tommy Hearns, Alexis Arguello type of length with his positioning on shots, that when he's here and he realizes that he's getting through with that left hand, sometimes you'll be down here and get through to come back up with certain shots again. And I think it's the rhythm of Dirrell getting off those shots timing him with that left hand, because James is not a standstill target. James is not going to stay there. He's always moving around. He's always changing levels. So when he starts getting off with certain shots, it's just a matter of time for him to work on his rhythmic timing to really slow James down.
As a boxing trainer, as someone who appreciates boxing skill, how quickly are you guys going to be getting changed so you can get out?
Oh, as I'm hoping Logan knocks this guy out super quick so he can get back in the seats to honestly see that type of fight. Because honestly, boxing fans, when you're watching this type of fight, this is not a fight that's getting the same type of hype like a Mayweather Pacquiao, like a Canelo Kirkland. On the 23rd, you're supposed to be able to see the essence of boxing at its purest form when you're seeing guys that could actually switch back and forth and make it look like they're both southpaw and right-handed fighters. You don't get to see that, I want to say 97% of the time, barely ever, with fighters that look that crisp on both ends of the stick when they're fighting as a southpaw and they're fighting right-handed. And I'm telling you right now, boxing people, if you really enjoy the game like Corey and myself, you'll enjoy this fight hands down just off of what's happening during the fight. Forget about the punches being thrown. It's about the essence and the art of boxing and the education of what these guys portray in the game.